Last Saturday night, the semi-finals of the Best.com Northern Irish Derby got underway, and there were a few surprises. Well, the draw was held immediately afterwards, and most of the trainers seemed happy with it. To learn more about our finalists, we're embarking on a road trip from Belfast to Dublin, Galway and back to Belfast to get up close and personal with their trainers. First up, we visit Tony McCluskey in Nuts Corner, Crumlin, who reveals what the future holds for Devil a Care. Where did it start from? And
how long we're in Greyhound, how long I'm Greyhound racing. My father always kept a dog, race whippets, and then we got involved, my late brother, and we used to have racing in Northern Ireland, indeed Belfast, 6 nights a week. Monday night Celtic Park and Tuesday night was in Dunmore Park, and they alternated, so you had the 6 nights a week, right? Okay. Celtic Park was also a famous football ground from Belfast Celtic, and Dunmore Park was a famous motorbike park, where they had the indoor motorbike racing. What do you call it? That whatever it is. It's Speedway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Speedway. That's what Dunmore was famous for. That Dunmore Park was was the only track in the British Isles where a 700-yard race was run around 4 bends. There was only 4 bends. The straights were very long in Dunmore Park. When you hit the home straight in Dunmore Park, you knew you were in a race because it was a straight run up the hill.
Yeah.
And it was the place for a good fast dog. Sadly, all those things is gone. There's a shopping centre now where Celtic Park is, and there's a housing estate where Dunmore is. And now we're left with only 2 tracks, one in the Brandywell in Derry and our Drumbo Park. And we're glad to have Drumbo Park. It's very, very good. And people who run it do a very good job, and it's very good for greyhound racing in Northern Ireland.
So you've got a massive history in greyhound racing, but actually it's just a hobby. Your father and your brother were into it.
My brother mostly, he was a professional trainer all his life, and trained some very good dogs.
Are there any that we know?
You wouldn't know any of them. Although I've seen very good dogs in my time. Probably I'm Slippy was the best ever I've seen. He was awesome. He was also owned here. He won the English Derby. He was also owned in Northern Ireland, and he became a very famous stud dog. And he was an awesome greyhound.
So do you breed them as well as train them?
Yes,
or?
I do. I have a brood bitch, and currently she's in pup 2 Premier Fantasy, and I have 2 pups out of her by Droopies Fieri, which I can show you, and you get a look at them, and they're still in the paddock. So.
And do you have a set training regime, or?
No, I just do what I fancy. I just.
Or what you think the dog like? What needs?
I'm not a professional trainer. When this dog here goes to a professional trainer, he definitely will improve a whole lot.
So with Devil Care, then he's obviously one that a lot of trainers and owners are looking out for. We've heard rumours that people are willing to purchase him. Is that what you plan to do?
You're sorry for to say, Jane, you're too late.
Oh, are we?
He's already sold.
Really?
Yes.
When?
Well, officially, we'll say officially this week.
Okay.
Unofficially, he was sold, but he sold this week, right?
Right.
To a very good supporter of Greyhound racing, a man called Lawrence O'Rourke, who lives in Sunninghill, Ascot, Berkshire, right? And Larry bought the dog, and
he's going to take it from there then?
He's going to take it from there, right?
Okay.
I don't know whether he'll be able to get over on Saturday night, him and his wife Mary. Hopefully they can, but he's a very busy man. And he keeps quite a few dogs in training in Ireland and in England. He had a dog in the final of the English Derby, trained by Nicky Sava, right? And Larry acquired this dog. Okay. He was always earmarked for to go to Larry, because we were at a wedding there some time ago, and during the ceremony Larry asked me, when am I getting the dog? Right, and he was always, because I know him through a very mutual friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, friends of mine, Colm and Mary McGrath. Larry and Mary O'Rourke are friends of Colm and Mary. That's why we were at the wedding, of Colm's son. But
well, he's a special dog. I mean, he's won four times out of the past 5 races.
Mm-hmm.
So he's. I mean, I think do you think he's going to go on to things like the Derby? And
I hope so. Yes, I would be very, very hopeful for him, because he's very young, and
how old is he now?
He'll not be 2 until September, right? Which is very young for a greyhound to be taking on this sort of class. What he's taking on Saturday night, and he's learning, he's training, he's learning every week, and when he goes into professional hands, I would be very surprised if he didn't find a good bit more.
So on finals night on Saturday night, have you got anything special that you're doing with him to get him there? Or?
No. The way I view the dog is, what can I do with him? He's coming out of the box well, and he's staying well, and he's doing everything right. So if I wanted to change his program, I'd probably be putting him off, or it wouldn't be for his benefit to try and change anything in him,
Yeah.
If you have a bit of something you want me to give me, a bit of rocket or something I want to put in him, Jane, yes, well, we could try that, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Right, but no, that's, hopefully everything will, hopefully.
Well, he's in trap 4,
He's boxed well.
So are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a relief, because I put him there, didn't I? So.
You did indeed, yes. And I was going to throw my arms around you when you pulled them out, out of box 4,
Brilliant.
And then I thought, I said to myself, well, God, if I done that, I might scare the life out of an outfitter like me doing the like that, But.
Well, are you concerned about any of the other competition? I mean, Captain Scolari, I think, shocked a few people in the semis.
He's in good hands. He's the fellow that trains him is very good. He's a very nice fella and a very good. And
John McGee as well, ruthless man. He's done well.
He's named after John McGee.
Yeah.
And Ollie Bray with the Royal Dog, very nice people.
Yeah.
And he's a good dog.
Yes.
Right.
So you're confident though that
I think we can win all right. But greyhound racing is greyhound racing.
That's
and
true.
There's no jockeys on them, and there's no monkeys on their back tell them what to do,
That's true.
It's on the night. If he does everything right, I hope he'll win.
So you heard it here first. Devil Care has been sold and will be heading off to Larry O'Rourke's in Berkshire after the final. And after witnessing his last performances, he's certainly one to watch. We're off next to Ireland to visit Ronnie and Lowlow in Finglas, Dublin. Lowlow's Joe is unbeaten in this derby, so we're going to find out the secret behind his success. First of all, behind the name, there's a story, isn't there?
Well, my name is Lowlow, so Joes and all the others after my grandchildren.
Okay.
So the Lowlow's after me.
Ah, right. So Lolo's after you. So you rear them. So you breed them and then you train them, and
That's right, yes.
it's more of a hobby.
Oh, it's a hobby, total hobby.
And how do you go about training them?
Well,
Is it just a?
well, we have the facilities. We have a track, and I run them on the track and give them a special diet. That's what it is, really.
A special diet.
Well,
Give them plenty of love.
Aw,
lots of love.
lots of love. Okay. So how did you get into greyhound racing? Was it just?
Well, I retired and I had greyhounds when I was young. I had just two.
Oh, okay.
And we're friends with Paddy McCormick, and he got a picture of her called Lolo's Choice.
Lolo's Choice.
She was very good, and we bred her, and we took off from there as a hobby. We had one,
Right.
it became two, it became three, and it became four.
Okay.
So we have 4 or 5 at this stage now. Apart from Joe, we have a few more. Same breed.
Yeah. And you enter them into various competitions, and you've won a couple of competitions anyway, haven't you, with some of them?
We won a few with the mother Lolo's Choice, and we won a few with Joe now. He's been very good.
Okay. So Lolo's Joe now, he's raced in a lot of races.
He's raced over 50 times.
Yeah.
He's racing for the last 2 years.
And he's older now. How old is he now?
It'll be 4 in November.
4 in November.
Getting on.
Well, he's unbeaten in every round in the Northern Irish Derby, isn't he? And his best time was 29.95 seconds.
Okay.
So he's consistent.
He's very consistent, actually.
So you must have high hopes for the final then.
I never build him too high.
No, it's probably
He's
best
very
not to.
consistent. He did between 28.50 and 28.60 and 28.40 in Shelburne over the Christmas.
Has he?
Consistently 28.40, 28.60.
Wow.
Consistent above in the north, and we hope he'll find a little bit.
So he could improve for the final, actually,
We hope
couldn't
so.
he? Yes. And with Trap 3, are you happy with Trap 3 in the final?
Okay, yes. There's a good run into the first bend, so it's time for him to get into the
Yeah.
racing.
Yeah.
So, take our chances.
He has won from all traps. He's well capable. If he comes out in front or comes out level, he'll nearly make the first bend.
Yes.
If he doesn't come out, he won't. He'll be in trouble. But if he comes out, he might make the first bend.
So if he pings out the traps and makes the first bend,
make a
he'll
hell of a battle.
right. So
Big
with
shot.
because he's in the same trap actually as the semi-final, isn't
He
he?
is, yes. And the previous time he won from trap 5 twice.
Yes,
Five twice.
that's right.
Yeah.
And Ruthless Man is also in trap 2 again.
He is.
He's
So,
in trap two.
He came from behind Ruthless Man, didn't he, in the semi-final? I think so.
No, he was third in the semi-final. Ruthless Man.
Yeah, that's right. But he came. Lolo's Joe passed him. He actually was. I think he was behind him at first, and then he came past him, didn't he?
Don't know.
I think he did. But so it was quite a
See the rest.
good run.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fast. And right. So you concerned about any of the other competition, Captain Scolari or Royal Patrol?
Only eyes for Joe.
Only eyed for Joe. Good. So what about training? Coming back to the training, do you have any special training that you're doing just for the final, or is it same as usual?
Same as usual.
Okay. And what if he wins it? What's your plans for him afterwards?
Well, he's going to stud one there, though, but if he wins, we'll take stock and see how he is after the race. Maybe the Irish Derby,
Irish Derby.
probably.
Okay.
Comes out unscathed.
Right. Brilliant. Well, we wish you all the very best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's only taking a whole lot of love for Lolo's Joe, but let's see if it's the same for Ollie Bray and Royal Patrol. We're off to Churchtown.